This is the Champion Power Equipment 8750 watt electric start open frame inverter generator with quiet technology. And it is the one that kept my heat, my fridge, and my internet running through a neighborhood outage without turning the driveway into a construction site. It delivers real household power with a calmer sound and a cleaner output than the typical loud box with wheels. It sits in that sweet spot for people who want a true home backup solution that can run multiple essentials at the same time, but who still need something they can roll out of the garage and set up on their own. If you have a transfer switch, or you plan to add one, and you want reliable power for outages, storm season, or an outdoor project where you will plug in more than a phone charger, this is the type of generator you look at. It is also a good fit if you care about stable electricity for sensitive electronics, not just raw wattage. The frame is metal and open, so it has airflow and takes bumps without drama. The wheel kit is sturdy and does not flex when you tilt it back on the handle. It is heavy, roughly the weight of a large person, but the balance point is friendly and it rolls smoothly across concrete and short grass. I would not carry it upstairs by myself, but I do not have to. The control panel is laid out like a dashboard. I can see the start and run positions at a glance. The fuel valve is a simple lever, the electric start is obvious, and the outlets have rubber covers that keep dust and drizzle out. The fuel tank has a clear gauge on top. I do not have to guess if I can make it through the night. There is a small digital screen that shows run time and basic stats, which matters for maintenance. The oil fill is tucked behind the frame, and the included funnel matters because the angle is tight. It is manageable if you take a minute and a rag. Setup was straightforward. I attached the wheels, the feet, and the handle with the included hardware. It took me under half an hour with a basic wrench. I filled the oil to the marked level, added fresh gasoline with stabilizer, and then connected the battery. Mine arrived with the battery lead strapped back. I pulled the band, slid the terminals on, and tightened them down. The first start was simple. I opened the fuel valve, flipped the engine switch to start, and it caught in a second. I let it settle and then switched to run. There is a recoil rope as a backup, but the electric start has worked every time so far. On a cold morning, it cranked a touch longer, maybe 2 seconds, then smoothed out without needing me to do anything special. Power delivery feels steady in real use. Lights do not flicker when big appliances kick on. Because this is an inverter design, the output is cleaner than a conventional generator, and my desktop surge protector stops complaining the moment I switch to this unit. I set it up outside, plugged a locking 30 amp, 240 volt cord into the outlet, and fed my transfer switch inside. With a 40-foot cord, it reaches a safe spot away from doors and windows. On the panel, the other outlets are useful too. There are standard 120-volt household receptacles for small tools and chargers, and there is a 12-volt automotive still outlet that pairs with the included dual universal serial bus adapter for phones and tablets. The main story, though, is the bigger outlet for the house. That is where this generator earns its keep. In my home setup, I treat 7,000 running watts as the practical ceiling. I pick the circuits that matter and avoid running everything at once. Refrigerator, freezer, gas furnace blower, living room lights, home office with modem and router, and then I cycle in the microwave or the coffee maker for short bursts. The engine note dips for a beat when a compressor starts, then recovers immediately. On the screen, the frequency stays near 60 Hz and the voltage stays where it should be. I kept an eye on it for the first couple of weeks with a plug-in meter, and then stopped worrying because it behaved predictably. That confidence matters when you are trying to keep a sump pump alive during rain. Noise is where this thing surprised me. An open frame generator is never whisper quiet, but this design has a lower, less harsh tone. I measured it with a phone app at about 25 feet on my driveway and saw low 70s decibels, which matches what my ears tell me. I can have a normal conversation next to it, and the neighbor behind a fence did not complain during an evening test. It is not silent camping material, but for home backup it is respectful. If you set it on grass and put the exhaust aimed away from the house, it sounds even calmer. I ran a real outage test by flipping my transfer switch and living on the generator for an afternoon and a night. After a few minutes of warm-up, I flipped circuits over one by one and watched for dips. The furnace blower came on without drama. The fridge and freezer cycled as normal. The television and streaming box were fine. The desktop computer and monitor in my office felt exactly like utility power. Internet equipment did not drop once. During a rainstorm, the sump pump kicked in repeatedly, and the engine barely reacted after the first surge. I cooked on an electric cooktop for a few minutes, then switched it off and let the fridge reclaim that headroom. Managing the load is common sense here. This is a powerful unit, but it is not unlimited, and the best approach is to rotate heavy appliances rather than stack them. Fuel use has been sensible for the size. At a light to moderate household load, I get a long stretch on a tank, enough to sleep through the night and refill in the morning. I top up when the gauge gets to around 1/4, and I like to refuel at dawn or dusk when the engine is cool. The engine sips when the load is light and idles down a bit. That automatic throttle helps with both noise and fuel. For maintenance, I did an early oil change after the first day of mixed runtime. The drain plug is reachable with the unit tilted on its wheels. It is a little messy if you are not ready with a pan and towels, but it is not bad. I mark hours on a piece of painter tape on the frame so I remember the next interval. One use case that sold me was a winter evening when utility power flickered, then went out for hours. I rolled the generator outside, hit the electric start, walked to the transfer switch, and the house felt normal again within minutes. Heat, lights, internet, and a quick session with the microwave, all without stressing the unit. Another scenario was a weekend project in the backyard where I needed a shop vacuum and a miter saw far from outlets. The generator handled both without hesitation. The clean output meant my battery chargers for drills did not complain. If you are thinking about tailgates or an outdoor movie night, it can handle those too. Just place it far enough away to keep exhaust and noise out of the gathering. There are small quirks. The weight is real. One person can roll it easily, but lifting it into a truck bed is a two-person job. The oil fill angle demands patience the first time. The rubber outlet covers are fine, but they feel a bit thin. I am gentle when I flip them back. The fuel valve on mine was stiff out of the box and loosened up after a couple of uses. None of these are deal breakers, and they are the kind of things you notice only after hands-on time. A few thoughtful touches make daily use smoother. The electric start is the obvious one. When the weather is ugly and you are stressed about the fridge warming up, pressing a button instead of yanking a rope is worth it. The digital display keeps track of run hours, which makes maintenance easy to plan. The fuel gauge is simple and honest. The locking 30-amp outlet mates perfectly with a home transfer switch cord, and the standard household outlets let you power tools directly if you need to. The included automotive-style 12-volt outlet with a dual universal serial bus adapter is handy for phones and tablets when the house circuits are tied up with bigger loads. If you want a reliable home backup generator that you can actually use without dreading the noise, this is the one I would look at. It has enough headroom for a real set of essentials. The output is clean enough that I trust it with electronics, and the electric start and smart throttle make living with it easier. If you need to lift it often, or you only plan to run a single small appliance, it might be more generator than you need. If you want true whole house coverage without managing loads, you should be looking at a permanently installed standby system. For everyone in between who wants control, flexibility, and confidence during an outage or a big project, this champion has earned a spot in my garage, and it has already paid for itself in peace of mind. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe to the channel and leave a comment with your questions or your own experience with home backup power. Thank you for watching.